Okay,
Okay.
so we have talked about the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7,
Right.
but now we're going to talk about the cheaper, but I still think just as cool,
Just as loved.
yeah, counterpart, which is the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 7.
That's right.
They've made some improvements.
They
There's one interesting drawback this year,
did. Mm-hmm.
all while maintaining essentially the same price. There's a lot to like here. I really like this phone,
And I agree, and I can't wait to talk about it.
but with that being said, let's get into the details.
Let's do it. Yep. Uh-huh. All right. Yep. Talk to you later.
Who
Yep.
are you-
Yep.
Who are you talking to?
Dude, you gotta tell me that this never gets old. Like you gotta admit it.
Closing the clamshell?
It's one of those things that even though we've talked about other foldables and everyone's doing a foldable, and even though this is like we said the little brother of the foldable line and Samsung's line of flagship phones, I think it's the best one. And there's multiple reasons to say this. One of them is that retro feel of closing a phone. I don't think that ever will ever get old. But two is the fact that it includes a display on the outside that allows you to do so many things like some notifications or certain apps while having the phone closed.
Yeah,
All
widgets too.
while keeping a smaller form factor that fits great in your pocket, that feels like a normal slap phone when fully open, and that also doesn't break the bank like the $2,000 phone that this company may also make.
Yeah, yeah. A clamshell phone like that opens up into a slab phone.
Bro, it's like a little MacBook.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more appealing to the broader array of customers,
100%.
right? So this type of phone, I feel like, is really well marketed towards not necessarily like the tech geeks like us, but more so like an individual or a consumer that has had their phone for a couple of years,
Right.
and maybe it's time for them to upgrade, and they're just considering something a little different. Like,
Just trying something new.
yeah, it's got some charm to it, and honestly, even if you use the cover display, the outside one, it is really cool.
It is fun.
Like,
It is
to
fun.
have that little square in your hand and just shuffle through the pages, and you can see certain apps and widgets and stuff.
Yeah.
And then whenever you want to, especially with the improvemements Samsung made to the Flip 7, you can open it up. Feels just like you're using a regular smartphone after that.
Mm-hmm.
The hinge and the crease improved, not really noticeable in my opinion. Super nice. It's the best of both worlds. You get the cool factor on the outside, you get the slab phone experience on the inside, and it is just creative enough to draw in someone, even like yourself, that's really traditional. You've never really been a fan
I've
of the
never
folds.
been a fan of the foldables. Big
Right.
foldables. Yeah.
Yeah, so David's never really been a fan of the form factor where, like the Z Fold 7, it starts off as a slab, opens up into a tablet. That's never really been his thing. But you've always been a fan of the flips
It's because
because it opens up into the traditional smartphone experience.
it's like it would release all my anger if I just hang up like that and I'm done.
Yeah.
And I feel so much better.
Very satisfying.
Very satisfying.
Yeah, so it has that satisfying aspect to it that's retro and really cool, but at the same time, it reminds you of the traditional slab phone you have been using for over 10 years now.
Mm-hmm. I agree. They did a really good package on this one.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about my favorite change
Mm-hmm.
from a hardware
The
perspective.
best change.
Yeah.
I think hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the upgrade, in my opinion, upgrade to the internal display, the main display,
Mm-hmm.
right? The cool part about this is we kind of got a slight dimension tweak.
Right.
So we went from 6.7 inches on the Flip 6
Mm-hmm.
to 6.9 here on the Flip 7.
6, 7.
Yeah. And what that, I still don't get it. And what that equates to, right? 6.9 inches, what that equates to is just a much better aspect ratio whenever you're using the main display for anything related to a phone.
Right.
Typing on the keyboard feels better on this. Watching videos feels better on this. This feels like a very, very traditional slab phone experience. It is, I think, just as wide. Like, I think my 16 Pro Max has a slightly wider display,
Right.
but this one is slightly taller,
Right.
right, to
I
compensate for that. So it feels really, really good. That
Yeah.
was the first thing I noticed. When you take the phone out of the box, it's already open like this. So as you're going through the setup process, I immediately noticed that the display felt wider
Mm-hmm.
and much more comfortable to type on and use and watch videos, which, given that this phone only has one main display,
Mm-hmm.
right, that is super, super important. And as far as quality goes, it's a Samsung panel.
You're never gonna go wrong with that.
Yeah, you're never going to go wrong with that. Super high quality. I feel like the hinge has been improved again on this model too, because the crease on this I feel like is much less noticeable. It's also just smaller than the crease you're going to find on the Fold,
Right.
but it just feels really, really good to use
Mhm.
the main display on this phone.
No, and it's like we said earlier, it's a really well designed and well built phone. It does feel really solid, and if anything, it might throw you off if you are coming from a traditional slap phone, just because it is slightly thinner
Hmm.
and slightly taller. But it is really easy to get used to the form factor because it fits great in your hand,
Yeah.
especially because the phone just feels solid.
Hmm.
Now, one great improvement from last year is that cover display. And if you remember, last year's model, the cover display was a section of the outside. So
Yeah.
it had a little square with the display, and then you had the cameras next to them.
Hmm.
Now the display covers the whole thing with the cameras just included within that display.
Yeah.
So I think the overall decision to make the display cover the whole thing was amazing, just because now not only do you have a bigger display and more real estate to use different things and different gestures, but they actually improve the display quality. Now you have 1,000 nits brighter display.
That's a big
It's
one.
120 hertz refresh rate
Instead of 60.
instead of 60.
Yeah.
So now you have a better, beautiful, bright display on the outside and on the inside, and it just makes the experience just feel super, super smooth
Yeah.
from the inside to the outside. So I think it's really cool.
I agree. And we've seen the type of cover display that stretches around the camera rings on
Right.
like the Moto Razors and stuff like that. We've seen that for some time. Samsung finally caught up in this department, which I'm really happy to see, because David's right. It definitely does change how the cover display feels,
Yeah.
right? And I think the third benefit that comes from all of these dimensional changes is larger battery. 4,300 versus 4,000.
Hey, I'll take anything.
Yeah. It's not the standard of
It
5,000.
is not.
It's
No.
not the standard of 5,000, but it is a battery improvement.
Yeah.
So on days where you get lighter usage with the phone, or maybe you get more usage out of the cover display, you're going to get through the day just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is. It is very good.
Yeah. So I feel like those quality of life experiences make the Flip 7 a really, really great choice.
Mm-hmm. Now, we did mention earlier in the video that Samsung made one very interesting choice when it comes to this upgrade. And if anything, it doesn't feel like a downgrade from last year, but it's just unique because if you look at it compared to every single other flagship phone in this lineup, it's the only one that doesn't have a Snapdragon chip.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, it's not a bad chip. We talked about this. It's a flagship chip, but it's not up to par with the standard that every other phone has this year.
Yeah.
It is the Exynos 2500,
Yep.
which it will deliver the power. It will do great. It'll get everything done. It'll do the tasks that you require it to do, but it's also not going to be the best chip that's out there in the market today. Now, does this mean that Samsung's going to start switching to their in-house chips starting next year and this is just a trial run? Or are they saving money just in this product so they can keep it at a certain price range? Who knows what the answer is. It's really hard to explain how this is not also a deal breaker, because it's not, but it is something to consider because you're not getting the best chip that they can offer in a smartphone. So it is this weird balance. But if anything, even when it comes to the heavy, high intensity tasks that require a lot of graphic power and things like that, you can get them done. Can you get them just as good as, let's say, your Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra? Probably not, but you can get them done. And on top of that, you can probably save a little bit of power. Battery's going to maybe last a little bit longer just because the chip is not going to use that much power.
Yeah, you're probably right on both fronts. So it could have potentially been a cost saving measure.
Right.
But there are rumors pointing to next year's Galaxy S26 lineup, the
Right.
flagship slab phones, all having an Exynos processor. Like there are rumors pointing to Samsung reverting back to all Exynos chips for flagship phones in house.
And we'll see what happens
This
next year.
might just be the first domino to kind of fall a little early,
Right.
but I could see
Further
Samsung
domino.
doing something like that. I
Yeah.
could see Samsung doing something like that in order to, because there were some upgrades made to this model, right? I could see them doing something like that in order to keep that starting price point the same,
Right.
right?
So it's one of those things that we don't have the answer to, and I'll say it again, it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah, very interesting choice, especially considering the phone that launched right alongside it has the Snapdragon 8
It just
Elite.
feels out of place. That's probably a
Yeah,
better way
it's
to
just
say
an
it.
it's just an interesting change, and it should also be known that that chip is paired with 12 gigs of RAM.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Okay, should we talk about cameras?
Let's talk about cameras.
There's nothing different.
Let's not talk about
Yeah, we
cameras.
talked about cameras.
We're done.
No, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. You have a 50 megapixel wide angle,
Mm-hmm.
12 megapixel ultra wide angle,
Right.
right? So there is no telephoto lens still,
Right.
which means there also is no optical zoom capabilities,
Right.
but it's essentially exactly what we saw with last year's Z Flip 6.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you're it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not a bad camera system, and it's not the end of the world if they don't change the camera system from last year's to this year's.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, if they're able to upgrade every single other camera system in this year's lineup of Samsung phones, they should be able to at least make a little tweak here and there to make this camera system a little bit better, or at least do what they did with the Fold that doesn't have the best camera system, but it borrowed one lens from the Ultra, the 200 megapixel wide camera lens, into the foldable phone.
Yeah.
So they could have done something similar where they can just change one of the lenses and made it better while keeping the other one from last year. Now, the really cool thing about this phone, it's the practicality of having a camera on a folding phone that you can prop up and have it sit somewhere. You
Yep.
can hold it a certain way to feel like a camcorder. If anything, you don't even need a selfie camera because you can use a cover display as a preview and
Yep.
use the back cameras as your main selfie camera.
The phone is essentially its own kickstand.
It is a
Depending
really
on how
cool
you use it.
concept, and
Yeah.
it honestly the possibilities are infinite, but it's also something that was there on the last year's flip phone, on the year before that's flip phone, and the year before that's flip phone, and that's because the concept is there and it won't go away. But that does not it does not make up for the fact that they didn't upgrade the camera system at all. So just because you can have a lot of fun with it and you can do a lot of great things with this camera system doesn't mean that they couldn't have done a little bit better with the hardware and the lenses. But I guess it's not terrible because it does get the job done. It is
Yeah.
fine. It's just I think there's something in me that just wants improvements every year. And
Yeah.
it feels like you're cheated on if you don't get something better than last year's. And it's the same hardware year over year.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe the day will come that they will include a bigger lens. I feel like that would require some reworking of the cover display
Right.
because like the 200 megapixel lens, like even on the Fold right
It's
here,
bigger.
yeah, it is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is a bigger lens overall. So if they were to include one or two bigger lenses, they would definitely have to rework how the cover display works. We know it's doable based on Samsung software and how the
Mhm.
display molds around these two cameras right now. But yeah, it would be cool to maybe see a camera upgrade in the future. Again, I feel like 95% of the people who buy this phone are probably going to be chilling with the camera performance, but there's nothing new or exciting to or notable to write home about because it's the same as last year's. Not a bad thing, but the same as last year's.
Now enough with the hate, enough with the jokes with this phone because it is a great phone. It is a really well built, solid phone with cool things you can do with.
This
And
is
if,
a lot of fun.
it is a lot of fun.
This
And
phone's a lot of
honestly,
fun.
I'm not gonna flame. I'm joking. Who am I tricking? Who am I tripping? This does have wireless charging. You do have some kind of water resistant, water and dust resistance. You have an IP48 rating,
Yep.
which is nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to foldable phones. So it is pretty solid right there. But at the end of the day, it is really up to you what you think. It is a really cool phone. If you've never tried a flippable phone? It's probably a
Flippable,
better
yeah.
way. Yeah, than foldable.
Clamshell,
Yeah,
foldable.
flippable. If you've never tried a flippable, if you've never tried a flippable phone, I think this is something that you should give it a shot. Just because even as someone that will probably never switch to Samsung, this is something I would definitely try for a few days, maybe a week. Depends. You gotta pay me for that. Actually, I'm lying again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But anyway, pricing.
I think the fact that a phone like this is appealing to someone like you though speaks volumes in terms of
And
like
that is very true.
the capabilities and the form factor and stuff like that. It is a really cool phone. The one of the best parts about it is as far as pricing goes, stayed the same on launch. So
Mhm.
for 256 gigs of storage, 1099.
Right.
Samsung is super aggressive with their trade-in values
Always
for
has been.
older phones. Always
Yeah.
has been. Always give them a ton of respect for that.
Hopefully, always will be.
And I mean, even if you go through a carrier, a lot of times they're like, "Give us
Mhm.
any phone in any condition, and you can have it for free." Or
Give us a
whatever.
Nokia,
Yeah,
$200.
through like bill credits
Right.
or whatever, right? So I feel like the accessibility for a phone like this is going to be much higher
Mhm.
compared to the much more expensive Fold. And if you wanted to bump up to 512 gigabytes of storage, it's $120 more. So
That's right.
$1,219.
What a weird number to upgrade to.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there you have
And
it.
just like the Fold, Jet Black, Blue Shadow,
Mm-hmm.
online exclusive Mint, which looks really cool.
It looks sick.
But if you really wanted to switch it up, the Flip comes in a coral red color as well.
By all means, go ahead.
Shout out
Be
Rick
my
Grimes.
guest. Yeah. Oh, coral.
But needless to say, I mean, even for someone like myself that has always gravitated towards like the folds or like the maximalist products,
Right.
this is really cool, especially with the fact that it feels much more like a traditional slab phone experience whenever you open it up now, thanks to
Yeah.
the larger display. There's a lot of great stuff here, and the price makes it just as accessible as essentially any other expensive flagship phone out there.
Because they're all expensive.
They're all expensive.
Yeah.
But this one is at the right price point of expensive, not ridiculously expensive like the Fold.
And I think that puts it, like you said, it's a really good opportunity for anyone that hasn't tried one. And I was joking about this earlier, but I mean it. If you haven't tried a phone that flips and closes like a clamshell design like this one, I think you should give it a shot. If you're coming from an older Samsung phone and you're still on the fence whether to get a slab phone like the S25 or the S25 Ultra or something like this, unless you're really set on a better camera system or something very specific that the other phones provide,
Yeah,
I think I would try the flip phone.
this is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. But
It's
let
a
us
lot
know
of
what you
fun.
think.
Yeah.
Drop it in the comments.
Yeah. Subscribe if you're new.
Please do.
We got a lot of stuff coming. A lot. There's a lot.
We were going through our schedule earlier today. Just stay tuned.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot coming through.
There's a lot coming. But
Yeah.
as always, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Wait for it. Wait for it. You ready?
Yep. All right. Now let's. You're not supposed to laugh.
I think it was the sound.
It's satisfying. It is very
Yeah, it
satisfying.
was the sound of you hanging up.